This video was originally uploaded on the Yeousch main channel. Please enjoy it, but understand the weird references potentially. Hello everybody, Daniel here, otherwise known as Onion Gravy 64. Hopefully this should be the first Pokemon of the week, of my type anyway, that I'll get on the Yeousch main channel. How exciting! Anyway, the Pokemon that was chosen at random for this week is Weezing, which is quite convenient because hopefully in the comment section we won't get all those people going, ow ow, it's only 151 Pokemon, ow ow ow. Screw it, we're going to anyway. Weezing, number 110 in the Pokedex. It has one ability, which means it's very easy to explain. Levitate means it has an immunity to ground type moves, most of the time. Mold Breaker is an exception to the rule. It is currently in the NU tier, but there's an asterisk alongside, because normally Weezing is not very well suited to the NU tier, and as such is used higher up. I will talk more about that within the movesets that I'm going to mention. There are going to be 4 of them, although 3 of them are the competitive ones and the last one is just a reference to a gimmick. Base stat wise, Weezing has one incredibly good stat, and that is its defense, base 120. Everything else is pretty average, although both its attacking stats are usable. Note that its special defense is considerably weaker than its physical one. Being a pure poison type combined with Levitate means that Weezing only has one weakness, and that is to Psychic. In comparison, it has 4 resistances to itself, to Bug, to Fighting and to Grass. Being a single type, it does not have any quad weaknesses or quad resists. Something I want to quickly note though, before the first moveset, is that on the left is the picture of Leftovers and on the right is the picture of Black Sludge. For Weezing personally, they do both exactly the same thing. They heal a 16th of Weezing's maximum HP every turn at the end. You may think they're interchangeable therefore, and to a degree they are. Black Sludge, however, if it's used on a Pokemon that's not a part poison type, suffers from problems, in that it will lose an 1/8 of its HP every single turn. So the safer option is Leftovers, but you can replace Leftovers in any of my sets with Black Sludge. Now that we've got the precaution out of the way, here's the first set. And it's the set that if you were going to play Weezing in NU, this is a set you would use. You would utilise its physical defence and try and wall everything that comes about you. The problem with Weezing in NU is that there are a lot of bulky, slow, quite mediocre psychic types, and Weezing can't do anything to these Pokemon, so they will inevitably need to switch out against weak psychic types, slow special attackers, and all that sort of thing. Move wise, there are 2 moves that are mandatory for this set, Will-O-Wisp and Pain Split. Will-O-Wisp inflicts burn. It is only 75% accurate, but it's still a very good move because burn makes your physical defense even more impressive. Pain Split on the other hand is the most reliable healing move that Weezing has, meaning that your HP and the opponent's HP are added up together and split in a communist fashion, so you get half of HP apiece. You now get 2 more move slots available, and there are 4 moves that you could choose for those 2 slots: Sludge Bomb, Clear Smog, Thunderbolt and Flamethrower. They are very, very important to combine together, but you can't have all 4 because there's only 4 move slots. So which 2 would you pick? Well, it depends on what you're going to do. NU, as I put in the note there, has many awful bug types and water types. Bug types are weak to fire, and water types are weak to electric, so you can imagine that those 2 moves are going to be quite popular. Same type of attack bonus though does not apply to either of them. Because Weezing is pure poison, and poison is a horrible type to attack with, it's only super effective on grass types, remember. It does mean that your Sludge Bomb, base 90 power normally, 135 after same type attack bonus, is going to be neutral or resisted on close to everything. The advantage of using Sludge Bomb, however, is its 30% chance of poisoning. Clear Smog is your other option, and it's a very interesting one. In isolation, it's a very weak base 50 power poison type move, 75 with stab. It does, however, remove all the status changes on the opponent that you've attacked, unless they are immune to it. So, for example, a Mawile in NU being a pure steel type will not be affected by Clear Smog. It is a very good utility move, but in isolation you are going to get set up upon very easily by opposition. So normally you want to go for either Clear Smog plus either Thunderbolt or Flamethrower, or I would just not worry about your tight coverage, go for Sludge Bomb and then pick whatever suits your team better as your fourth move. Remember, I've mentioned the leftovers / black sludge debate before, so that would be your item of choice, whichever one you picked. Bold increases your defense, sacrificing your attack. You're not using your attack though, so you don't have to worry. And in terms of effort value investment, maximizing your HP and defense maximizes your walling capacity. The second set looks pretty similar, but this is when you're going to take your Weezing from the never used category into the underused category, and this is something that's quite a smart decision in my reasonably well informed opinion. Like I said, the set looks very similar, but it does play an incredibly even more defensive role than the previous set. Will-O-Wisp and Pain Split are still the two moves that you need, because that will allow you to wall physical attacks even more effectively than you would otherwise, and able to heal yourself off to some degree. Your choice of moves though out of the two of category is slightly different. There's no more Sludge Bomb, and instead there is Haze. Haze removes all status changes, be it attack, defense, special attack, special defense, evasion, accuracy, the whole shabam. They all get wiped out and everything goes to a net 0. This is very useful if you have Pokemon switching into you that you can't particularly damage, and well, you can't attack it with much damage either. They can't attack you initially with much damage, and they're going to stat up in your face. Haze completely removes that problem, so does Clear Smog, but remember, Haze will affect Steel types as well, because it's not an attacking move. Do bear in mind though, Haze does not work if you are taunted, so there are always swings and roundabouts. Your two other moves are the same as the last set with Thunderbolt and Flamethrower. Do bear in mind, as I put in the first note there, that in UU there are Pokemon that benefit from being burned. The two of most of note are Swellow and Heracross, both of which have Guts as their ability, meaning if you were burn them, rather than their attack being cut like every other Pokemon, their attack in fact goes up. So you have to be very, very careful. Even though they're both physical attackers, with Guts and a burn, they are going to do considerable damage to you, so you have to watch out. As I said at the start of this set, Weezing in this tier has to be a lot more defensive and has to switch out a lot more often. Simple reason, the Pokemon you're facing are a lot better, so there are much, much bigger threats for you to deal with. Anything that attacks on the special side you should not be staying in with unless it literally only has special attacks that you resist. And to be honest, there aren't going to be many Pokemon in UU that are going to do that. I mean, remember, you have 4 resists, but normally people carry with better type coverage than just one move, so you do have to bear that in mind. The EV spread is very similar to the first set, but putting your 4 spare EVs into special defense over special attack, just on the off chance that it might help you take a 2-hit KO and turn it into a 3-hit KO. That is what you are hoping for. The third set is a bit more rare than the first two, and there's a simple reason for this. Your best stat is your physical defense, and normally you will focus on doing that. This, however, is not the case. What we're doing here is special walling. We're walling the special spectrum rather than the physical, and as a result our nature is calm rather than bold. As you may have worked out, calm raises special defense instead of physical defense. Your moves are a lot different as well, and we're going with the Sleep Talk combination. The Sleep Talk combination used to be a lot more common in 4th generation, and there's a very simple reason for this. In the 5th generation they changed the sleeping mechanics so that if you, for example, slept for 2 turns and then switched out and came back in, those 2 turns of sleep were completely nullified and not counted towards the time you will wake up. Long story short, you're going to wake up a lot later in Generation 5 than Generation 4 if you switch out. So this makes this a little less versatile, we shall say. However, it still has a very important role to play, especially if you combine it with Pokemon that have things like Heal Bell. Lantern, for example, is a Pokemon that goes incredibly well with Weezing because it's weak to ground and Weezing is obviously immune to it. It is specially bulky rather than physically bulky, so you could go with a Rest Talk physical walling set as well. That's another alternative. And you have to remember that Lantern is just a very good Pokemon. There's only Rotom Wash, and that's in OU, that has the same type as Lantern, so it is a lovely Pokemon to have in tandem. To talk about Weezing though in particular again, after our rest and sleep talk combination, Will-O-Wisp again is your move of choice, because the burn will kind of improve your physical defense, and now it isn't quite as good as it was in the other two sets. And your last move of choice has to be an attacking move, because otherwise if you get taunted you are absolutely stuck. And the choices are, again, Flamethrower and Thunderbolt are there. Another alternative though, however, is Fire Blast. Fire Blast gives you a bit more power than Flamethrower, but at the cost of 15% accuracy drop. It all depends on what you really need and whether you like to play a high risk game. I personally am not a high risk player. I am very conservative, so I go for Flamethrower over Fire Blast. A lot of you out there, however, are a lot more aggressive than I, and Fire Blast is not a bad combination to go with these other three moves. Now the final set, I don't recommend using it. I've brought it up for a different reason. This is the Weezing set that a lot of people use when they're bored, or they're playing sort of a grab bag of Pokemon, or they're just playing for fun. Again, I don't recommend using this competitively, but it is quite interesting, and as it's reasonably well used by people having a bit of a joke, I thought I'd bring it up. Normally Weezing uses its special attack, even if it is quite a low special attack, just to do some damage. This is the set that tries to make Weezing sweep by cursing up. Curse increases your attack and defense by 1 stage, while lowering your speed by 1 stage. This is a great move to go with Gyro Ball. Gyro Ball does more damage based upon how slow you are compared to your opponent. So for example, Weezing using Gyro Ball would do a lot more damage to a Ninjask than you would, for example, to an Aggron, even though both Pokemon would take a neutral hit from it. Your other attacking move would be Payback. Payback is perfect for hitting those psychic types that switch in. If that indeed is the case, you hit with 100 power plus the bonus from super effective damage, so you would be hitting a power of 200. So that is very impressive. Pain Split outside of rest is your only even semi-reliable recovery move, so it's what you've got to pick. You can notice the EV section there is quite a weird one. It's all down to how offensive you want to be. I would recommend being defensive and putting the 252 EVs in defense rather than attack, but you can put it in attack instead and put the remaining 4 in defense. It all depends. It's a bit of a gimmick, so you wouldn't worry too much about it anyway. This is the end of this week's Pokemon, and I'm going to quickly mention, because this is the first time that I've been on this main channel, in theory, let's hope it gets uploaded to main, it should have done. I'm going to quickly talk about what I do, so I won't take long. I am, as I mentioned at the start, Onion Gravy 64 on my own channel here. I do Wi-Fi battles, Let's Plays and strategy guides all about the Pokemon genre. You can click the button there, as it is described as the subscribe button, to go there instantly, assuming that Whack has put the annotation there. If not, I'll make sure it's in the description for you. I am actually, however, opening a second channel so that I can split my Civilization videos onto a different channel. I do hope you join me on that. In particular, it should be ready in 2 weeks, I am hoping, assuming the admin goes through. It's all to do with Yeousch, so I have good faith in them, and it is known as Civil Onion. If you like your strategy games, I very much recommend going to that channel, and again, click the subscribe button as an easy way to get there. I appreciate that you've listened to this for so long, and I hope you all have a great day. Peace out. If you enjoyed the video you've just seen, please join my Facebook group and follow me on Twitter for the latest news.